Hello everyone and welcome to, my house and to today's workout. Today we are gonna be focusing on your butt, more specifically, your glutes. We're gonna be working them pretty hard, and this workout was inspired by those awful days where you just spend all of it sat on your butt behind a desk, right? And the problem with spending all day on your butt is that you don't use it. And if you don't use it, you lose it. Then we start to see injury and pain manifest in the lower back, the knees. So these other joints start to suffer, and we want to prevent that as much as possible. Obviously, it's wonderful to have a perky butt, but there are more important reasons to train it, and that is going to be the inspiration for today's workout. What you are going to need is a resistance band, and that just makes this workout more intense, but of course, you can do all of these exercises without the band if you don't actually have one. So let's get warmed up and we'll get straight into the workout. It's gonna take you 11 minutes. Everybody has 11 minutes. Let's go. Okay, so I'm gonna very quickly explain these exercises to you. If you've watched this before and you're coming back to this video, then of course, just skip straight on through to the warm-up. If you have never watched this video before, just quickly pay attention so I can explain some of the key things you need to know about how to execute it properly. So, the first exercise is a squat. You're gonna take your feet shoulder distance apart with the toes turned out. You're gonna keep your chest lifted, push your hips back, bend at the knees, and sit down as though you were gonna sit onto a chair. I like to go wider with my squat and let my body tip forward while keeping my chest lifted. And this just helps to activate more of the glutes and the back of the legs, which is what we want, rather than just activating your quads. So that's the squat that we're gonna take. Now, when you're doing it with the band, you're actually gonna take your long band, twist it, bring the two ends together like so, step inside the loop, and then place it above your knees. From there, drop down and then lift up. And what you'll feel is that the band's trying to pull your knees in, but you have to use your glutes to actually push your knees out and perform it correctly. The next exercise is a glute bridge. So you're gonna take that band away, come onto your back. You're going to place your heel into one end of the resistance band, then wrap it around the hip, place it on the other side, place it on top of your hip, arms by your side, palms either down or up, and from there we're just gonna lift the hips. So lifting and lifting, making sure that you're squeezing through the glutes to do the lift. The belly draws in and the tailbone tucks. There might be a temptation to arch your back and just lift your hips like this, but we want to resist that temptation because that is actually just working our lower back and not actually working our glutes properly. The next exercise is a leg extension. So you're going to open up your band, come into this position, all fours position, looping the band around one heel. Your thumbs go into the resistance band, and from here, we're in this all fours position. You're gonna extend your leg out and then bring it back in. So we're pushing away and then coming back in. And what we're trying to make sure of is that we keep our core nice and tight, ribs in, belly draws in, and driving back and in. This is actually also a great core exercise because it teaches you to keep your spine stable. And that's what your core is anything that stabilizes the spine. You're gonna repeat that on the other side, and then we're gonna get rid of the band for the last exercise, and we're just gonna work through an alternating step back lunge. So what that looks like is hands on hips, leaning forward, stepping back, coming up, changing sides, stepping back, coming up. If you want to go a little bit harder, you can step back, place your hand down, come up, change, step back, and come down. And that just helps you to go deeper. You get a little bit of a stretch at the same time, and it makes it obviously a little bit harder. Those are our 5 exercises. We're gonna start with a little bit of a warm-up. Let's get on with it. Okay, so the warm-up is just gonna last a minute, and it's just designed to prepare our bodies for the movement ahead. So all you're gonna start to do is just jump on the spot. And I've got my timer ready so you don't have to worry about anything. So you're just hopping from side to side. You can run up and down your mat. It's not very interesting, but we just want to start to raise the heart rate a little bit. And then we're going to work on our squatting and our lunging because those are the 2 most complex movements of this sequence. Okay, we've got another 10 seconds of this jog. You'll start to feel that you're like, okay, I'm feeling a little hot, a little sweaty. I am because it's currently 37 degrees here in London. Woohoo! chose a good day to film. All right, so we're gonna calm down. We're gonna take the feet wide, and if you've got a yoga mat, it's a good way to gauge just how wide we wanna go. So feet, toes are on the outer edges. You're gonna drop down and lift up. Drop down, lift up. So I want you to work the movement. You don't have the band on yet. We're just sort of starting to work on what it feels like to do the lunge, the squat. So down and up. Think about that posture. Think about your chest. Beautiful. Hands onto the hips. We're going to practice the alternating step back lunge. So stepping back, coming up. Stepping back, coming up. Keep going. We've got 3 seconds. Perfect. Stop that. Now, we're going to get straight into our first exercise, which is the banded squat. Okay, so take your band. You're going to twist, bring the two ends together like so. Now, I didn't tell you how long we were going to do it for because I thought you might protest. So we've got 44 seconds on and 15 seconds off. Starting now, go for it. So keeping the chest up, knees push out, driving up. Out, drive up. Make sure you're squeezing your glutes, pushing the knees out as much as you can. I don't mind if you lean forward, but no rounding through the spine, and don't let your knees drop in together. So we want to keep that chest up, drop back. Try and get your knees, your hips to go as deep as your knees. Inhaling and exhaling. Keep that core nice and tight, shoulders relaxed. You're going to get really sick of hearing me say it, but it's for the better. And this form and these form reminders start to become a little bit of a mantra in your head. And so you remember every time, almost there. Good, last one, perfect. Take it off. And then we're coming down onto the floor. 10 seconds to get there, so it's quick set. Wrapping it around, place it around the heel. Goes around the other heel, like so. Okay, glute bridges, let's go. Drive the hips up. So, as I was saying about form, we want to make sure that it sort of continues as this mantra that we repeat to ourselves the whole way through each exercise. So for this one in particular, we want to think about, okay, I'm thinking about squeezing my glutes. If you're feeling it too much in your quads, you can lift. Oh, don't let that happen. Blooper. I'm not going to have a blooper reel. We're just going to get on with it. Driving the hips up. You want to make sure that you're digging your heels in and squeezing your glutes. And if you feel it in the quads, take your feet further forward. Okay? Keep squeezing. It's going to start to really burn. Keep going. And release. Perfect. Good. We're coming up. And we're going to go into our all fours position. So take this wide. Come into what I like to call the circle of trust. You're going to hook it around one foot. Thumbs down, all fours position, drive back, squeeze. Okay, so as you push back, notice I'm not going back and up. If I do, that band is going to end up crushing into me. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is just use my glutes to make that action happen, driving back. Think about the rhythm that you're doing it with, and we want to try and maintain that rhythm the whole way through. So 1, 2, 3, yeah, just like that. Try and find that rhythm. If you go, fast on one side, you need to then go fast on the other side. We want to keep the same pace so that we're doing the same amount of repetitions. Now I'm really starting to feel my left glute. And finished. So now I have 15 seconds to change sides, okay? So I love to work that kind of ratio, a 45 seconds on and a 15 seconds off, because it's long enough. We ready? Let's go. Because it's long enough to feel as though you're really getting a good workout. Yeah, so you start to feel your heart rate increase, you feel the muscle really start to burn. And then you get enough time to change between exercises. Sometimes 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off can be a little bit too long of a rest. And then 50 seconds on, 10 seconds off can feel like not enough time to change between exercises. So it's a good ratio just for you guys to remember. If you're out in the park, maybe you can do 45 seconds on of a push-up and 15 seconds rest, and then 45 seconds of a squat, 15 seconds rest. Keep going, keep thinking about that glute, squeezing, pushing back. Beautiful. Okay, so now we're gonna move the band away for a second, and we're getting ready to do our alternating step back lunges. Hands on hips, chest up, shoulders down and back, relaxed. Are we ready? Let's go. So stepping back, coming up. Now just be really careful, because when you come back into that lunge, if your core isn't tight, you're gonna let that all go and your spine's gonna start to bend. You'll feel it in your lower back and your knees. So I need you to keep everything really tight. Place one hand on the belly, one hand on the lower back, and encourage your stomach to draw in. Driving through the heel here. Try and keep it nice and long. So notice how long I'm going. This is gonna really help to keep your hips nice and open. If you're spent all day, or you're about to spend all day sat behind a desk, you have to remember, almost there, good, okay, we have one more set, let's get this band ready. You have to remember that your hips are gonna start to get really tight. So those lunges are in there, not just to obviously raise your heart rate and work your legs, but also, let's step in. Oh, Shona, stop talking, here we go. Squats, 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 let's go. Drop and lift. But also, you're gonna start to open things up a little bit here. Yeah, so we want nice big movements. This is the second set, this is the last set. So stay with me. I know you're probably feeling a bit tired, but we wanna really push it. Shall we pick up the pace a little? Let's do it. Knees push out, chest stays lifted, drop, drive, drop, drive. Really keep everything nice and tight for me. Squeezing through the glutes. Push those knees out. 10 seconds, guys. Oh. Breathe. Knees, chest, squeeze the glutes. Good. Release. Perfect. I cheated a bit there, didn't I? I came out of it quite early. Okay, come onto your back. Wrap that band around in front. Hook it onto the heels. Okay. Here we go. You guys go. Don't wait for me. Here we go. Drive. Why am I so slow today? It's the heat. Okay, squeezing the glutes. If you're feeling your lower back, guys, hands on hips, tuck your tailbone, reduce how much you're coming up, and just try and work on this smaller movement, okay? You have to put your mind into the muscle. What we're trying to work here is what's called glute max, and glute maximus is it is the biggest muscle in the body. And unfortunately, it starts to disappear in times of stress. And that sucks, because if we don't have glutes, and particularly glute max, we lose a lot of stability, one more, good, in the hips and the knees. And that's where we can often find those back issues. Okay, stop talking, Shona, because we're gonna get into the next exercise. I get very excited about glute training. Okay, here we go. Thumbs on, hands on, holding that band, let's go, back. This one is one of my favorites for those of you sitting at a desk all day, because it really teaches you to stabilize through your core. Of course, you can just kind of rush through it and it doesn't mean anything, but if you're really focusing on doing it properly, keeping the rib cage drawn in, the belly drawn in, and really thinking about your glute as you extend that leg out, you are going to feel this tomorrow, and you're going to feel it in a good way, okay? So really make sure you're driving through the heel, you're pushing the floor away, you're keeping the ribs in. Exhale to push back, inhale to come in. So exhale. One more. Good, we'll swap sides, hook it around. Remember, if it's too easy, then hold further down on the band and create more resistance for yourself. But just make sure it's even between the right and the left side. And remember that we often have one side that's stronger than the other. Let's go, push. So really try not to. I can feel on this side my body really wants to cheat. It really wants to lift up like this. So I'm gonna really try and pull my core in. It's getting a bit tired. So it's gonna start to naturally find an easier way to do it. Breathing and thinking about, well, I'm doing the right side right now, so I'm really trying to think about my right glute, squeezing with each extension. I'm really trying to hold my core in tight as well. There's no time to think about anything else, just the glute, just my core. Breathe. Good, and release, perfect. Alternating step back lunges, and then we are done, okay? So here we go. Let's make them quite strong. Anyone that's working out with me today and you're feeling quite advanced today, then let's try and take that more advanced variation. We're either here, right? Or we're gonna take it back. So we're going nice and deep. Take that hand to the floor. And anyone that's up for the challenge, come into plank, side, step. I'll do it again. Back, step. Maybe for this one, maybe not, okay? But at least you know the movement and you can work it in the next time. Otherwise, you're here, working on your step back lunges, or your hands are on your hips. We have 13 seconds left, guys. Let's smash it. Core pulls in. Don't let fatigue get the better of your form. Keep it safe. 2, 1, perfect. Well done! I hope you enjoyed the workout. Make sure that you stretch out your hips later and don't forget to hydrate. Thank you for practicing. See ya.